What's going on, Raider Nation? Time to preview the Raiders and Chargers game. Welcome to Preview with Primos. What's going on, Raider Nation? Raider Ed back here again with a live show for you. It is Preview with Primos. We are previewing the Chargers and Raiders game. We are going to take a dive into our injury report. We are going to talk about the quarterback duel of the century. We got Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell. It is a marquee matchup. That is why they put it on prime time, Thursday Night Football. It is going to be a big game, and I hope you guys can tell the sarcasm in that. But Super Omicron already coming in saying duel of the century. Primos, you ain't right for that. Oh man, I know I'm not right for that, Super Omicron, but we all seen this coming. We got Franklin Skinner popping up in the building. Salute to you, Franklin Skinner. But yeah, you guys, let's talk about it. We got the duel of the century, Easton Stick versus Aiden O'Connell. I'm not excited for this game, and here is why. This injury report, as we are going to get into, it is a lot to dive into. We might be without Davante Adams. We're already out with Andre James. Josh Jacobs is questionable. And we are going to be out with Colton Miller once again for the second straight week. And I get it. It is on a short week. So really didn't do him any favors that it was on a short week. And yeah, thank you, Sean. Yeah, all is well. Just getting home late. Just getting home very late. Got off of work late, about an hour. OT. Not going to complain. We still going to come on. We're still going to come on YouTube, and we're still going to talk some Raiders football. But yeah, let's get into this injury report, you guys. For our Las Vegas Raiders, we got Curtis Bolton on. He's been dealing with the groin. He is set to play. Adam Butler, he has been limited all week, and he is questionable to play. Max Crosby, he did not practice on Monday and Tuesday, but they conducted walkthroughs Monday and Wednesday, so they didn't have their typical practice as they would have liked. So Max Crosby, he was limited on Wednesday. Brendan Faison was full, but he is still questionable. Josh Jacobs did not practice all week, dealing with the quad. It is looking likely that he will be out. It looks like it's going to be a game time decision for Josh Jacobs, but would not be surprised if Josh Jacobs is out for this Thursday night game. Amik Robertson, he's been dealing with the wrist. And Davante Adams has been added to the injury report. He is dealing with an illness. He did not practice today. He is questionable for tomorrow's game. And the Chargers injury report, Keenan Allen, he is out as he did not practice all week. Gerald Everett is full, and he will play tomorrow. Justin Hollins, their outside linebacker, he's full. Zion Johnson, their guard, he was full today. Sebastian Joseph Day, their defensive lineman, was full today. Dean Leonard, defensive back, he did not practice. He's out. Kenneth Murray is full. Amin I'm not saying that. He is questionable with the hamstring, one of their linebackers. Otito Agabonia, defensive lineman, he's questionable. Joshua Palmer, the wide receiver, he's full. Donald Parham Jr., tight end, he's questionable. Nick Williams, their defensive line, he is full. So yes, you guys, but let's go into the Raiders. Adam Butler, questionable. Max Crosby, questionable. Brendan Faison, questionable. Josh Jacobs, questionable. Andre James, out. Colton Miller, out. Davante Adams, questionable. You guys, we may see a lot of backups come tomorrow night. I wouldn't be shocked to maybe see Max Crosby be out. I'm gonna be honest, you guys. 5-8, you're pretty much out of the playoffs. If he plays and you lose this game, you are risking more injury to Max Crosby. He's been dealing with the knee injury all season long. He's been playing on that injured knee all season long. And he has said it himself. He is going to need surgery after the season is over on that knee. Josh Jacobs, like I said, he is likely going to be out. Looking like he injured that quad against the Vikings, did not come. I don't believe he came back into the game. So would not be shocked if he's out. Davante Adams, that is one thing to eye on, but I do believe he's going to play just because of the competitor he is. And I mean, it's an illness injury. It's an illness. If it was any type of injury, then I'd probably be concerned. But he's dealing with the illness, so I do believe he is going to play in that game. Raider Scorpio, what's up, my brother? Marshawn Johnson. The Raiders are considering going with the following offensive line for tomorrow's game. Left tackle, Dayon Munford. He's being moved from right tackle to left tackle. That is something to eye. Dylan Parham, he's going to be at the left guard position. Center Ronis Grossu. And then right guard Greg Van Roten and Jermaine Illuminor basically going to play the right guard and right tackle position as they are accustomed to playing. But that shift for Thayer Munford, we're gonna have to see how that plays out going against Khalil Mack. As we know, last time these two teams have met, last time Aiden O'Connell started, Aiden O'Connell was sacked 6 times by Khalil Mack by himself, had 6 sacks. But let's talk about that last meeting, you guys. The last meeting was in SoFi Stadium. It was the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Las Vegas Raiders outscored the Chargers in the second half 10-0, but they still ended up losing the game 24-17 on a late interception by Aiden O'Connell. As we know, you guys, I put blame on Josh McDaniels on that game because they were at the goal line. It was 1st and goal from the 4, and you do not run with Josh Jacobs. That is very, very, very questionable play calling. I would understand if it was a 3rd and goal or a 4th and goal and you opt to call a pass play down there at the goal line. I understand it, but it was 1st and goal. I don't know why you ponder passing instead of handing it off to Josh Jacobs at least 2 times to try to punch it in. But it seems we're going to have to – the receivers is where I'm eyeing. Aiden O'Connell, he targeted Davante Adams 13 times. Adams had 8 catches, 75 yards in that game. Josh Jacobs was targeted 11 times. He caught 8 receptions, 81 yards, long of a 21-yarder. But outside of that, no other wide receivers was pretty much targeted. Jacoby Myers, 4 targets. Amir Abdullah, 2 targets. Jakob Johnson had 2 targets. Hunter Renfrow, 4 targets. Austin Hooper, 2 targets. And go down the line. Jacoby Myers, 2 catches, 33 yards. Amir Abdullah, 2 catches, 14 yards. Jakob Johnson, 1 catch for 12 yards. Hunter Renfrow, 2 catches for 12 yards. Austin Hooper had 1 catch for 11 yards. And pretty much after that game, we wanted to see more of Aiden O'Connell. And as we know, you guys, Aiden O'Connell was pretty much benched in favor of Jimmy G. Jimmy G was brought back into the starting lineup. But I'm going to be honest, you guys, we now have 6 games of Aiden O'Connell, and this game is going to worry me. Are we going to see another version of that game that we seen earlier in the year? Possibly. In the last outing against the Vikings, Aiden O'Connell was 21 of 32 for 171 yards passing. He had 1 interception, was sacked 4 times, had a quarterback rating of 16.8, passer rating of 66. Josh Jacobs, as we know, he ran the ball 13 times, 34 yards, 2.6 average, had a long of 6 yards. He may be out. So Amir Abdullah, Zamir White, we are going to have to see a running back by committee. Amir Abdullah had 1 carry, 12 yards, long of 12 yards. Zamir White, 2 carries, 8 yards, had a long of 6. Aiden O'Connell also had a rush for 2 yards. And then in the receiving game, Devontae was targeted 10 times, had 7 catches for 53 yards. Hunter Renfrow was targeted 5 times, 3 catches for 46 yards. Jacoby Myers was targeted 6 times, 5 catches for 25 yards. And then outside of those top 3 wide receivers, nobody else pretty much targeted. Jacobs, 2 targets. Mayer, 2 targets. Amir Abdullah, 2 targets. Austin Hooper, 1 target. Trey Tucker, 1 target. Let's go to the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert was injured in the game. Once Easton Stick took over, he was 13 for 24, 179 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked twice in that game, quarterback rating of 37.5, a passer rating of 78.3. Austin Eckler had carried the ball 10 times, 51 yards, and 1 touchdown. Isaiah Spiller carried the ball 6 times with 19 yards. Joshua Kelly carried the ball 3 times for 6 yards. In the receiving game, Quentin Johnson was the show in that game. He had 3 catches for 91 yards, had a long of 57, was targeted 4 times. Keenan Allen, who is going to be out, he has 6 catches for 68 yards, was targeted 12 times. Austin Eckler, always a threat in the receiving game, had 5 catches for 49 yards, targeted 7 times. Gerald Everett, 5 catches, 39 yards, 8 targets. Donald Parham, 1 catch for 11 yards, 2 targets. Alec Erickson, 1 catch for 9 yards, 7 targets. Jalen Guyton, 1 catch for 8 yards on 1 target. And also, Easton Stick did have 2 fumbles in that game. He lost 1 of those fumbles in that game. And if we go back to that Chargers and Raiders game, Aiden O'Connell had 3 fumbles. He lost 2 of those fumbles. And he also had an interception. He had 4 turnovers by himself, you guys. And Aiden O'Connell has been a turnover machine as of late, as he had a pick in the last game. And he also had a pick against the Dolphins. We know that. Went against the Chiefs. Pretty much had a clean game, but still didn't really do much to win that game. That's pretty much it for you guys. For the Broncos for the Raiders and the Chargers, for really a complete breakdown. For the injury report, like I said, you guys, I expect Josh Jacobs to be out of this game. But let me get into some more of these comments. Let's see what we got going, and we're going to get more. I got some news that I want to talk about that Sean Johnson has shared with me. But Raider Luck says, this gives me Cardinals games vibes. We might end up with the 5th best quarterback for a whack-ass win. And we're going to talk about it, Raider Lux. We're going to talk about it because I don't want to say I hope the Raiders lose this game, but it benefits the Raiders from a future. If we're looking towards the future, it benefits the Raiders. It benefits them to lose this game and try to get a top pick in the draft and go get the quarterback of the foreseeable future. Raider Lux, Zamir White will end up with 15 rushes, 36 yards in total. I would not be shocked. He has no vision at all, Raider Lux. We've never seen him have any vision in the small sample that we've got. And with you tell that to the offensive line, it might be another, we might have the Josh Jacobs back there with 2-yard runs, 2-yard losses, 1-yard losses. There's not going to be much of a run game. You tell that, and you put the pressure on Aiden O'Connell. This could be a loss, but given that Justin Herbert is out, Keenan Allen is out, this could be one of those Thursday Night Football games that Al Michaels wish he walked out on. Raider Lux, Max Duggan is breakout game. I don't believe Max Duggan is starting, Raider Lux. It looks like it's going to be Easton Stick, the quarterback that is going to be starting for the Chargers tomorrow night. I don't hope we lose. Let's talk about it, Raider Lux. Let's talk about it. I don't hope we lose, but I'm cool with taking it as a preseason game and seeing who deserves a spot next year and move on from the dead weight. I'm sorry, family, if I sound negative, but I want a franchise quarterback. Before we talk into this, if you guys haven't already, join the Boricua party. What are you guys doing? It's for free. Subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like on the way in. Show love to Raiders Primos. Also, share the link around. spread the channel like wildfire. If you like talking Raider football and you love anyone, anybody that loves talking Raider football, share the link with them, bring them our way, and let's all talk some football all together. And let's share our opinion. I love talking with you guys. I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions, not only on this game, but any live we do when it's in regards to the quarterback, the offense, just the team in general, you guys. Let's get as many Raider fans up in here so we can all share our opinion and we can all just have a conversation. But yeah, let's have a conversation about this. I agree with you, Raider Lux. I don't hope the Raiders lose, but it is beneficial to the Raiders to lose this game. Try to get into the top 5 in the draft order and go get your franchise quarterback. There's at least 3 starting quarterbacks, maybe 4 or 5 quarterbacks coming out next year's draft that are starting quarterbacks that can be stars in this league. Of course, it is yet to be seen, but if you are in the top 5, you are guaranteed to at least get 3 of the top quarterbacks, to get a Caleb Williams, to get a Drake May, to get a Jayden Daniels. And yeah, Sean, Jayden Daniels was asked on a podcast what was his favorite city, not his favorite city to play at, but what was his favorite city out of a list of random cities. And Las Vegas happened to be one of the options that Jayden Daniels chose was his favorite city. So the hints are there, you guys. The hints are there. But let's get into it, you guys. Tashawn Reed. I wanted to talk about this, you guys. We previewed the Raiders Chargers. It's really small, you guys. Really not much to preview with this game. I'm not even going to get into rankings. I've said our defense, they're top 10 in scoring. I believe in total, they are a top 20 defense, and our offense is in the bottom of the league. I believe we're 29th. After last week's game, we're probably 30th or 31st. Wouldn't surprise me. Our average was at 16.6. Wouldn't be shocked if it dropped down even more. I didn't even want to look at the rankings, you guys. We know what this offense is. We know what the Chargers are. Like I said, this game can be another Vikings and Raiders game. Lowest scoring game, not because of good defense, besides the Raiders playing good defense, but because either offense cannot figure it out. Either offense is probably going to struggle, and there might be sometimes the defense may have a blown coverage, but quarterback just overshoots or underthrows, or I don't know. It's looking like a game that is going to be a game where the offense is going to just continue the struggles for both sides of the ball. It's going to be another game where which offense is going to make the right adjustments and which offense is going to wake up and go score some points. But as we know, and as Raider fans of what we've seen all season, we can barely score 20 points. We have only scored 20-plus points one time this season. I believe we got 18 points, and that was one time in week 3. Other than that, we scored 17 points, 16 points, 13 points, 10 points, 0 points. We have not been able to get it together on the offense side of the ball. But yes, as I was saying, you guys, Tashawn Reed had an interview with Raiders owner Mark Davis, and it was basically to explain what Mark Davis' plans are for the Las Vegas Raiders. And there are some highlights from Tashawn Reed's. Shout out to Sean Johnson for sending me this. Tashawn Reed's recent interview with Mark Davis. Shout out to the 12 in the chat. Thank you guys for pulling up to Raiders Primos again. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 450 subscribers. Hit that like button and also hit the bell so you guys are not missing anything from Raiders Primos. But yeah, let's get into it. Some highlights from Tashawn Reed's recent interview with Mark Davis. On the hiring structure, Mark Davis said, I believe the general manager has to have some say in who the coaching staff is going to be. At this stage, it would probably be the general manager first. I'm not making a commitment to that, but I think so. And I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys believe that is true? Should the general manager have a lot of input on who the next head coach is going to be? Me personally, I do believe that is a known fact. That should have been his mindset from the get-go. Instead, he hired Josh McDaniels, and Josh McDaniels basically brought Ziegler over. Ziegler didn't bring Josh McDaniels over. Josh McDaniels brought Dave Ziegler over. So in hindsight, it was Josh McDaniels' team, and what Josh McDaniels said in regards to personnel and players that he wanted to bring to the Raiders, he had the final say. Dave Ziegler could not be the general manager of the team because whatever Josh McDaniels said, that was the final say on the decision. Raider Luck said, with the lineup Sean Johnson gave, I think Mac is getting 3 or 4 sacks, especially with AOC holding onto the ball too long. And also Raider Luck's Aiden O'Connell has not shown anything that he is going to be scrambling. He's going to avoid the pressure. He's going to step up in the pocket. He's going to extend plays. He is a pocket passer. If the line is not holding up, he is going to get sacked because you cannot expect Aiden to scramble because he has shown that is not his game, and we cannot beat him up for it. I know I'm going to stop beating Aiden up for it because I am tired of expecting a quarterback to move when that is not his game. That is not his game. With guys like Jaden Daniels, guys like Bo Nix, guys like Michael Penix Jr., Caleb Williams, that is part of their game, to move in the pocket, to extend plays, to scramble. Aiden O'Connell, coming out of college, did not show any signs that he had that mobility with him. That was his limitation. He is a pocket passer. So, yeah, if he has that issue again, that is going to be a big, big problem come tomorrow night. Raider Lux, when we had a real general manager, we were building something great. But then Gruden came in, and, yeah, he really messed that up. AJ, what's good, Preem? Hey, what's good with you, AJ? Hope everything is all right with you, man. He said, in my opinion, Reggie McKenzie's biggest mistake was taking Amari Cooper over Leonard Williams. And I would have to disagree with you, Raider Lux. I think Amari Cooper was on the stride to be one of the best maybe top 5, top 10 wide receivers in the league. You paired him up with Michael Crabtree. They were one of the deadliest duos of that time. I think the real mistake goes to Jack Del Rio for letting go Bill Musgrave. Bill Musgrave, I'm telling you guys, and I'm going to keep saying this until most Raider fans get in their head, that in 2015 and 2016, Jack Del Rio had no input, nor was he the mastermind behind that offense. He was the mastermind for having the balls to go for it for 2 points against the Saints, having the balls to go for it on 4 downs. Basically, he had the cojones to be aggressive. But the mastermind behind that offense and the way that offense ran was Bill Musgrave. And what Jack Del Rio's issue, or I would say the issue that he had, was letting go Bill Musgrave and replacing him with Tom Downing. That was the biggest issue that I had, because Bill Musgrave had Derek Carr. He went from having a 32nd ranked offense in 2014 under Greg Olsen to a 2015 top 20 offense to 2015 or 2016 being top 5. Bill Musgrave did a 180 with that offense, and he essentially got let go. And that was the biggest mistake that Jack Del Rio made during his tenure, was not bringing Bill Musgrave back. Which I'm kind of glad you brought this up, Raider Lux. I didn't even know this, Raider Lux. I didn't even know this. Bill Musgrave was let go because DC wanted his quarterback coach to take over. Shaking my head. After that, Bill Musgrave hasn't coached. I believe he has. I believe he went to Cal. He went to the collegiate level, and he was the offensive coordinator at Cal. And it was actually surprising me because their offense was terrible in Cal. Like, it was terrible. And then I believe he's not coaching anymore, though, as of today. He's not. But why do I bring this up, Raider Lux? And I'm glad we kind of transitioned into this conversation, is because now let's talk about Antonio Pierce, you guys. A lot of Raider fans, where Raiders went 2-0. People were on a high. I was on a high, and I'm still going to be on the high with Antonio Pierce. And I'm still going to be an advocate that Antonio Pierce should be looked at as a head coach for the future. Oh, for the for the he hasn't. After that offensive coordinator job, Raider Lux, yeah, you're right. He hasn't coached in the NFL since then. But yeah, I think Antonio Pierce, you guys, he should be given a shot. We have to consider this is a Josh McDaniels team that Antonio Pierce has taken over. Terrible offense. And I'm gonna let you guys know, Aiden O'Connell isn't the quarterback that Antonio Pierce drafted. That is a Josh McDaniels quarterback. Josh McDaniels drafted Zamir White. Josh McDaniels drafted Dylan Parham. Josh McDaniels drafted Tyree Wilson. Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler drafted Jacory Bennett. What I'm saying is, you guys, the players that is on this team, Antonio Pierce, these are not his guys. And what do I mean by that? They could be, maybe. They could be. But who's to say Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly wouldn't have drafted Jalen Carter last year? Would they even make a trade for Devontae Adams and 2 years ago? I'm willing to give Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly a chance. But give Antonio Pierce a great offensive coordinator. That is what you need to give Antonio Pierce. Let me take you back to that 2015-2016 seasons. Jack Del Rio was 68-71 as a head coach, you guys, prior to becoming the head coach of the Oakland Raiders in 2015. A lot of people have said that Antonio Pierce is not a proven head coach. During that time, it could be argued that Jack Del Rio wasn't a proven head coach, and that, if anything, he was a loser as a head coach because he had a losing record. Mark Davis took a chance and hired Jack Del Rio as the head coach, with Reggie McKenzie as the general manager and Bill Musgrave as the offensive coordinator. We already know how that turned out. 2015, we seen the Raiders as we never seen them before. They finally got out of their losing state, went 7-9. Yes, still losing season, but what did Raider Nation see? We seen potential. We actually could believe maybe this team, they just need one more offseason. One more offseason, and that is what it took. It took one more offseason. Go and sign Bruce Irvin. Go and sign Reggie Nelson to try to build that defense up. The defense ranked 20th that year. For how bad that defense was, they ranked 20th. For the offense, they had Latavius Murray as the starter from day one. They went and signed Michael Crabtree to pair him, in 2015, signed Michael Crabtree to pair him along with Amari Cooper in 2015. The 2016 offense really didn't have a lot of change at all compared to the 2015 team. You had 2015 and the 2016 offense basically returning. You have Bill Musgrave having another season to basically work out the kinks. They also, during 2016, they drafted Jalen Richard and DeAndre Washington, and they both had pretty decent seasons for being backup running backs. Why do I bring them up? Well, guys, I'm going to dissect the offseason. Josh Jacobs needs a running back 2 and a running back 3 to basically take the heat off of him if he can't get the running game going. There was point in times during that season Latavius Murray could not get the running game going. Insert Jalen Richard. Insert DeAndre Washington. They started getting the running game going. Bring in Latavius Murray. He basically fed off of them. We need some type of balance of that. But Mark Davis wanted to bring John Gruden along, fired Jack Del Rio after a 6-10 season. Basically after his second losing season, after having the Raiders in the playoffs the year prior, he fires them, brings John Gruden back. John Gruden goes into full rebuild mode and shows some improvement. Emails come out. Rich Bisaccia replaces him. Mark Davis wants to go get a big name head coach, brings in Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler, tries to insert the Patriot way. We see how that happened, and now we're trying to figure it out again. Mark Davis. I say don't go in the rearview mirror, but just because Antonio Pierce has not proven himself as a head coach doesn't mean he cannot take this team and build something with this team. Build this team as a playoff contender. Let him go get a great offensive coordinator. Let him go get a quarterback in the draft that's gonna be a game changer on this offense. Let him have a full offseason of free agency and a full offseason with a draft, and let him build this team. Give him one season. I would like to give Antonio Pierce just one season to see what he can do with this team. Can he retool this team instead of bringing in another head coach, another general manager who potentially can just tear this down, trade Davante for picks? I know I would not be against that, but what I'm saying is you're trading Davante with no plan, essentially. Like, let's be honest. They might come in and they might trade Davante with no plan. With Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly, they seen this from the beginning of the season. They were there behind the closed doors. They know what it may take to fix this team. Another head coach is seeing it from the outside, looking in. Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly were there behind closed doors. They will give a reason for players to come to Las Vegas, for players to stay. If they stay, Josh Jacobs stays. If they stay, hell, Adams may stay. Who knows? Who knows? Let me go back up, you guys. AJ says, if Antonio Pierce becomes coach, we're getting Daniels no matter what. And that is who I want. I mean, I'm going to say this, you guys. A lot of people say if Antonio Pierce finishes the season 5-12, then he's not getting a head coaching job. And I have to say this. I got to push back. Look how we lost those games. It was by a terrible offense. That's how we lost those games. Our offense could not get anything going. You cannot put any blame on this defense. You cannot say that this defense did not come Sunday and was ready to play football. Antonio Pierce and Patrick Graham have that defense ready. What Antonio Pierce needs is a great offensive coordinator and a quarterback to pair along with that offensive coordinator. Raider Lux, I want Eric Bieniemy. Have we not seen how the KC offense has dropped and how Washington has a top 5 passer? He might not be it or be a dick, but Pierce keeps everyone in check, and players and coaches. And Raider Lux, that's exactly right. If we are going to get a Caleb Williams, just to put that in there, Antonio Pierce is your guy to keep that diva in check. He's going to keep that diva character in check. I wouldn't mind getting Caleb Williams. The only thing that pushed me away is his character issue, that diva mentality. Antonio Pierce will have him in check. Anthony Estrada. Yeah, Antonio Pierce tried everything with the McDummies team. Imagine next year if Coach Antonio Pierce gets a job and he makes this his team. He makes the moves. He picks his players. And I'm telling you, Anthony, a lot of people don't know this. Champ Kelly had his input on C.J. Stroud. Champ Kelly told Ziegler, and basically Champ Kelly and Ziegler agreed we need to get C.J. Stroud. But who had the final say? Josh McDaniels. And Josh McDaniels said, no, I don't want C.J. Stroud. I want Aiden O'Connell. It's either Aiden O'Connell or Bryce Young. I want those two quarterbacks. I don't want C.J. Stroud. Champ Kelly wanted C.J. Stroud. He convinced Ziegler, we need to go get C.J. Stroud. And Josh McDaniels basically said, final stamp. No, we're not getting C.J. Stroud. Raider Lux, agree. Anthony and free agent, agree, Anthony. Free agent players would want to play for former players. And that's the thing. He can connect to these players. What he needs is an offensive coordinator. People need to understand that. And Antonio Pierce is not calling offensive plays, nor is he coming up with offensive game plans. That is Bo Hardegree. That is Bo Hardegree. And Bo Hardegree is not an offensive coordinator. Inexperienced offensive coordinator. I would personally move Bo Hardegree back down to quarterback coach, and you go sign a great offensive coordinator. Raider Scorpio. Would you give up Davante Adams if the Jets called and would give up their first round and Garrett Wilson for him? I do that in a heartbeat. I do it in a heartbeat. And I would even do this, Raider Scorpio. Well, Van City said, I'm taking Quinnen Williams for Davante 8 days out of the week. I do that too. If you are including that first round in there, I'm taking it. And the reason why I agree with this, you guys, because I know a lot of people may be against getting Garrett Wilson in the return instead of Quinnen Williams. But I'm going to say this. You take that first round pick and Garrett Wilson, your wide receiver one is like that issue is gone. You don't have to go to free agency, go get a T. Higgins or try to look in the draft. You got Garrett Wilson, and now you got 2 first-round picks to play with. Potentially 2 first-round picks in the top 10. You could potentially have 2 first-round picks in the top 10, you guys. 2 picks in the top 10. Go get your quarterback, and then we can go get a top defensive tackle in the draft. It's a dream, but could it happen? Maybe. Maybe, you guys. Yeah. I'm getting a first in either Wilson or Quinnen Williams. Yeah. Raider Lux, I agree with you. I would say this, Van City. I would want that first. Me personally, I would want the first. Because you're giving up your wide receiver one. Yes, we're getting Quinnen Williams, and we kind of fixed that defensive line. I wouldn't even say kind of. We fixed the defensive line. You put Tyree Wilson with Quinnen Williams and Max Crosby with Malcolm. Whoo, bro, defensive line is fixed right there. The problem now you have is a wide receiver one to put pair up with Jacoby Myers. Could you find it in free agency? I think T. Higgins coming in on a cheap deal, 4 years, $16 million. That's about $4 million per year, close to maybe $5 million per year. He does have a history with injuries, but I would take a chance on T. Higgins. Maybe not to a 4-year deal, maybe a 3-year, maybe 2-year deal, like a prove-it deal. We could give him. I would give T. Higgins a prove-it deal. But if not T. Higgins, I would like to have that first-round pick because maybe we can go get a top wide receiver. If you do pick a Jaden Daniels, go get the wide receiver from LSU. Or if you get a Michael Penix, you go get his wide receiver, a Buzane, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But if you don't get a first and you make that trade with Quinnen Williams and Davante Adams, what is the answer at wide receiver one? Because you do got a question mark there. He said, Raider Left said, give me Williams and change. Van City said, I mean, if they're willing to be dumb enough to throw their first in as well, I'll gladly take it. I will too. Let's be honest, you guys. Come off season, I feel like there's going to be a lot of talks between the New York Jets and the Las Vegas Raiders in regards to Davante Adams. I just hope we don't lose in the trade. I really hope we don't lose. Like, do not be stingy. Like, take what you need. First round, Quinnen Williams. If they don't want to give up Quinnen Williams, first round and Garrett Wilson. Raider Lux. Yeah, I've been trying to make that point. We ain't getting a superstar and an extra first. To me, a star and a third rounder maybe, or push for a second. But if we get more than that, it's a steal to me. And yeah, like I said, that may not happen. And there's a likely chance it probably won't happen. But if it could happen, that the Jets are dumb enough to take that, bro, I will personally fly myself to Vegas and I will drive Davante to the airport. Raider Scorpio. if Jets really want Devontae, they could give up Williams and a first round. Hopefully, the Raiders don't give in and just get a first round. And that's what I don't want, Raiders Scorpio, because I feel like you lost. Yeah, you got a first round pick, but you lost because you could have got maybe even Sauce Gardner. You could have got him, or you could have got Quentin Williams, or you could have got Garrett Wilson. You had 3 other options besides to pair along with a first rounder. Yeah, Devontae's 31 years old, you guys, but there's no question that Devontae is still him. If given the chance and given a quarterback that can get him the football and get him out in space, he will completely take over a game. All he needs is the targets and an accurate football. In Van City, I know I said I was going to watch it, but I didn't get to it. I went to bed early, had an earlier shift today, and I'm about to do the same thing after I get off this live. I got to go straight to bed. Got another early shift, but I wanted to come on, talk some football with my family before we watch the game tomorrow. And we probably will be live again tomorrow to recap the game, and hopefully we got something better to recap. Van City said, Primos, I'm not sure if you watched Hondo's podcast yesterday, but he said he's heard there are high-quality free agents that already want to come here and play for Antonio Pierce. He made it sound like specific guys. I know Sean told me that too, that there were specific guys that wanted to come to Vegas and play for Antonio Pierce. And who's to say, Van City? I know we're talking about free agents here, but who's to say that Jaden Daniels isn't up there crossing his fingers like, please let Las Vegas pick me? If Antonio Pierce is the head coach, who's to say Jaden Daniels is like, please, I want the Raiders to pick me. I want the Raiders to pick me. And we could be in prime position to pick Jaden Daniels. Raider Scorpio, Jets are desperate. Get a first and a player for Adams. I wouldn't call them desperate, though, Raider Scorpio. I mean, they're making it sound like they're desperate. I can't argue with that. But let's see how desperate they really are. You know, I mean, if they really want Adams, like I said, if they really want Adams, then that means the Raiders' phones are going to be getting blown up by them. Anthony Estrada. Yeah, but I only blame the Raiders on that Chiefs loss. I wouldn't blame the Raiders. That defense, like, again, offense, they got outscored 31-3 after going up 14-0. It seemed like the offense just could not play 60 minutes of football. The defense can only hold on so long, Anthony, so I got to disagree with you on that one. But I'll read the rest. Versus the Dolphins, both defense had a bad game, man. Versus the Dolphins, we were supposed to get absolute smacked, and versus the Vikings, 3-0. And I know, bro, defense balled out in those games. But this offense, man, just terrible. If you have a better quarterback and a great offensive coordinator, you beat the Dolphins. You beat the Vikings. And who knows how that Chiefs game turns out. Raider Lux, I'm scared to lose Patrick Graham, to be honest. He's been a gift from the football heavens, and I've said it. I said it last year, Raider Lux, and a lot of people killed me. They wanted Patrick Graham fired last year. And I said, I don't know what game you guys are watching, because Patrick Graham has a defense balling out for what he's given. There has not been a lot of money that was put in on the defense. All the money was spent on the offense. And this defense has to save the offense's ass 9 times out of 10 in 2022. And now they're doing it again. They're just doing it at a higher level. Imagine you get Patrick Graham and Antonio Pierce another free agency to now invest more talent on this defense. Go draft some more guys on this defense. Bro, this defense can be scary next season. But we need an offense that can put up points. We need an offense that can score 24-plus points a game. We do, you guys. We do. Sean Johnson. There's already discussion. Former teammate of Antonio Pierce saying Antonio Pierce has top talent guys he wants to bring in. And I read something that Mark Davis almost took Champ Kelly over Dave Ziegler. And I think you sent it to me, and we're going to get into that, Sean. let me get into more of this. Raider Lux. Calvin Ridley is a good free agent to pair up with Mayer if Adams is traded, or Hollywood Brown. Yeah, those are two other options. Raider Lux, you're not wrong. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the names. Rome Duzane and Malik Neighbors are going to be dogs, and yeah, you pair one of them up with the quarterback that they were playing with in college, could be the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase effect. Raider Lux, to be honest, we do need an extra first because we will be paying his salary. I believe we will. I don't know for how many years, Raider Lux. I'll be honest, but I know we are going to have to pay some money into that contract. So I will love to have an extra first. Van City, Jalen Johnson and Champ Kelly have ties. You got your lockdown corner right there. What the Raiders need to focus on this offseason and draft for sure is fix his entire offensive line and get a complete elite franchise quarterback. We for sure fixed the defense last offseason. And Anthony, I agree with you 100%. You do got to fix that offensive line. But getting that, you know what people don't understand, Anthony, is getting an elite franchise quarterback, taking a chance on a guy like Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams or Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix, taking a chance on any of those guys. You may not need an elite, because a lot of people want an elite, perfect offensive line. But if you got a quarterback that knows when to scramble, knows when to run, you don't need an elite offensive line. All you can have a good offensive line. You can have a 18th ranked offensive line, 15th ranked offensive line, and you can still be winning football games with that. You can. And it's been proven. And also, I think I wanted to touch on the running back situation because I know a lot of people is going to talk about the running game. This also goes to coaching. If Jacobs is not getting it done, we need to go get a running back 2 and a running back 3. If they're going to bring Jacobs back, go get backup running backs that you know that you're going to not only use, but when they are on the field, they are making something out of nothing, or they're hitting the hole, that they have vision to find the hole and get 5 yards, get 6 yards. Keep the running game going when our running back 1 is not out there. Raider Scorpio says, Primo, I say Jets are desperate because their window to win with Aaron Rodgers is closing in about 2 to 3 years. I actually, now that I think about it, you're not wrong. You're right. Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't even say 2 to 3 years, Scorpio. I'd say maybe 1 year. He blew out his Achilles at 39 years old. That is a tough injury to come back from. Tough injury. So maybe I would say max 2 years. 2 years. And Van City, yeah, we're going to be continue to talk about that. Tashawn Reed did an interview with Mark Davis and put it out today. Mark was saying that he's thinking about hiring a president of football operations, then a general manager, then a head coach. And that Mark is going to hire a general manager, then let the general manager hire the head coach. I think he will hire Champ, then Champ will hire AP. Champ needs the autonomy. AP can have discussions with him and let him know what he needs, but Champ gets the final say, and I will love that. Frank Smith could be the offensive coordinator. He has experience running a West Coast offense, that with a franchise quarterback and a revamped offensive line. A 1-2 punch at the running back position, another defensive tackle, another edge rusher, and a cornerback. Sean, that is my recipe for a successful offseason right there, Sean. And I like Frank Smith. And I said this to you, Sean, too, because you brought it up and when you messaged me. How much is it Frank Smith getting credit for, and how much is it Mike McDaniel getting credit for? Because Mike McDaniel's the one that's actually calling the plays. So who's getting more of a credit there in Miami? That's my question. But I wouldn't mind bringing in Frank Smith. I mean, bringing him from that line of coaches from a Mike McDaniel's coaching tree, and seeing how Mike McDaniel's work that offense and him having a say in that offense. I wouldn't mind bringing Frank Smith in. Raider Scorpio, AOC is not the future quarterback. Maybe our backup future quarterback. He looked like Carr out there, especially with the jersey number 4. If I was him, I'd change the jersey number ASAP. And I remember you messaged me too, Scorpion. You said you believe that number's cursed. I'm not going to get into all that, but he definitely did. You know, he definitely did by not scrambling, by really just taking sacks out there, making ill-advised throws, overthrowing open receivers. He did. And I talked about this in yesterday's live. Can Aiden O'Connell be coachable? Can he grow? Can he be that starter next season? What it's hard to say is because he has not shown any potential. He has not shown any potential to really be considered a starter at the next level. And with the talent coming out next season in the draft, you cannot afford to miss out on potentially drafting a stud at the quarterback position. Because if any of the other teams grab any of these quarterbacks and these quarterbacks go down and start balling out for said team, we're going to look like the biggest idiots. We're going to look like the biggest idiots. And if the Aiden O'Connell experiment doesn't go through, we even look like more big experiments. And also, I said this. If Aiden O'Connell experiment does go through and you draft a quarterback, then boom, you got a good backup quarterback. Because look at this season. Starting quarterbacks are dropping like flies. And you need a backup quarterback to come in. And if you're having a winning season, you don't want that season to be a loss. So you want to have a good backup quarterback. That's why I wouldn't even mind Aiden being our backup quarterback, because maybe he will learn from if he's a backup, he'll actually be that quarterback too. He will actually get study time on the playbook. He will not have the offseason that he had last season. Van City, yes, as much as I hate to say this, AOC gives me Carr vibes. Sean Johnson says, Frank Smith, he's been around 6 different NFL teams, which all ran the new Miami Dolphins system, the West Coast offense. Made this offseason. And yeah, hey, Sean, it is sounding like he has a lot of experience before going to Miami. And now if he comes to the Raiders, I believe he could fix his offense. But we'll dissect the offensive coordinators come the offseason after the season is over. But with that, you guys, it was going to be a quick live today, you guys. I appreciate everyone that has pulled up. I love every single one of you guys for pulling up. I know it's a late night. It's 8:06 p.m. on the West Coast, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. Thank you guys for pulling up. Again, I know it was a late live, but thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. And I love that, again, continue sharing the link around. I love talking football with you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll try to see if I can get Nate on. Maybe I can get maybe a couple of other guys on. We can recap the Raiders and the Chargers game, give our thoughts on the game. And yeah, before we get out, I am Van City. Before we get out of here, Van City says, Primos, on a personal level, my brother, I want to say I've been here since the very beginning, and you've grown a lot on this pod. I was actually going to mention today that the one thing you need to work on is communicating with the chat. Tonight, you've done great. And yeah, Van City, I do want to get better in that, because I want to, like I said, Raiders Primos is nothing without the chat. It is nothing without the chat. And I want to include you guys in the shows more. I want to include the chat. Like, you guys are the reason Raiders Primos is growing every single day. You guys are the reason we're getting close to 450. We're getting close to 500. You guys are the reason, not me or Nate. Me or Nate, we just talking to a camera. That's all we do. And a podcast would be nothing if that's all we're doing. It's talking to a camera with 0 people in the chat. You guys have made this channel grow. And I got to give you guys all the thanks in the world and all the props, all the shout outs. I'm going to shout out every single one of you. Franklin Skinner, Van City, Sean Johnson, Raider Scorpio, Anthony Estrada, Raider Lux, AJ, Orlando Padilla. It goes on and on. Super Omicron. Also, shout out to Waste Brother Wasted and Grab and the rest of Mount Shieldmore, Hammer, Big Mike, Andy, everyone that has supported our channel from the jump, you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you, you guys. I don't know if I say it enough, but thank you, and I can't say it enough. Thank you. Thank you guys for the way you guys have supported the channel. Thank you guys for sharing it around and getting more Raider fans to come join and talk Raiders. Thank you guys. I'm sorry if I'm just saying it over and over, but truly just appreciate you guys, and I'm grateful for you guys, and I'm grateful to I found channels like Graph and find channels like Wasted and Big Mike and Andy and Cane Town and Severe. Like, you guys, I'm saying thank you to everybody, everyone who has. You guys are all Raiders primos. All you guys are Raiders primos. It's not just me and Nate. It's you guys too. You guys are Raiders primos. Raiders primos is all y'all. It's all y'all. So thank you guys again for pulling up. You guys have an amazing night on the way out. If you guys have not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. If you hit the like on the way out and hit the bell so you guys are here for tomorrow night for the recap show of the Raiders and Chargers, and continue sharing and sharing. And I'm going to leave it with this. We are family. I love y'all. Primos out.